Happy Friday, everybody. Should be a special night at the arena. Sabres GM Kevyn Adams joins us now on the Wester Hotline. Hi, Kevin. How you been?
All right. How about you guys?
Pretty good. The feeling in the air for Rob Ray is very positive. He's obviously, you well know, a legend and all. And I asked Paul Hamilton this earlier, like, do you remember meeting him? And Paul couldn't exactly. He was a reporter, but right starting around that time, around the Sabres. How about you? Would it have been on the ice? Was your first meeting with Rob Ray maybe in the '99 playoffs or something, or do you have another story?
Well, you know what? It's an interesting question, but I probably have like different phases of my life knowing Rob Ray. Like
we all do, Kevin.
Yeah, a lot of Buffalo does. He broke in the league when I was late in high school, and so I kind of remember Razor as the young guy fighting a lot, and it was fun. And but then shortly after that, I'm drafted in the NHL. And I shared a same agent with Pat LaFontaine. So in the summer, I would work out with Pat, and then I would go skate with the Sabre guys, and Razor was there. So I think that's really where I first met him. And that's when he'd give me a hard time, and he'd tell me I was an American punk, and he was going to get me when I got to the league someday. And then in '99, I'm playing against him in the conference finals. And then, and you kind of go through our careers playing against each other. And, we've always been friends. And then now the last 15 years, kind of post-playing for both of us, know each other in different ways, spent a lot of time with him talking about our families, so it's over 30 years, different types of relationship, but it's a special night here. It'll be a lot of fun.
It's not hard for me to imagine him giving you a world of crap on the ice, wearing a Leaf sweater, being from Buffalo, finger quotes around Buffalo, right? Yeah, but yeah. Yeah,
no, that's there was a lot of talking out of him, and I was smart enough to know that I wasn't going to talk back to Razor too, so. That I can definitely give myself credit that I wasn't going. Although my line mate was Ty Domi, so I kind of had free reign to almost do anything I wanted out there, and I was protected.
I did wonder too if you had a particular story or perspective on Ray Domi from the Toronto bench. I mean, I wonder just what was said about the two guys, or what was said about Rob there from the other side. If there was anything that you remember that was interesting.
Well, for sure. I mean, there was, people don't realize that there was a natural mutual respect between those two. They had known each other a long time. I mean, playing against the Sabres, for me and my teammates, Razor's name was always circled as you better know when he's on the ice because he's going to get you if you don't. And but I can tell you guys, I was on the ice a few times for some of the Ray Domi fights, and I was, within feet away, and those guys, the fist off each other's face, and just witnessing it that close. I mean, honestly, it was. I was like, I'm glad I'm not a fighter because I don't want to do that.
Right.
That was a pretty scary stuff. Those two.
Yeah. Talking about sharing agents, I think the story is Rob and Ty Domi shared an agent when they were going to the draft. Like they rode to the draft maybe together or something, or shared a room. Like they go all the way back.
The Sabres did a nice job with a documentary about them recently.
Right. Yeah, I think I've heard that, and I think that's what makes this a special night for the organization. There's so much that he's done, on the ice and the history, but also off the ice in the community, and it's actually it's fun for our organization to be able to celebrate him. And this is the first time in a few years now that Kim Pegula is coming to the game. She's excited to be here. She's going to be sitting with Terry during the ceremony, and to have her here, I just think it's special. It'll be nice for them.
Ryan Miller and several other former players as well.
There's a long list, like 40-some players, I think I saw.
Yeah, a lot of alumni, and I think that is another thing. When you play long enough, it's amazing how many players come and go in organizations, and you look at the alumni list of guys that he would have played with in the beginning of his career,
right? And
then guys at the end, and it spans a long time. And I'm glad Razor deserves this. It'll be special, and I know it means a lot to him. And this morning was nice having Terry around and a little bit of a ceremony this morning. Just you could see it in Razor's eyes. Like, he's a tough guy, but I don't care how tough you are. It's emotional, and it's an honor when you get something like this.
Boy, talk about deserving it. Kevin, when it was announced, and I say this with no judgment towards anyone who is in charge of this sort of thing, when it was announced he was going into the Sabres Hall of Fame, I was like, he's not already in it? It was my first reaction, honestly.
Probably similar to a lot of people, yeah. And it'll be fun, but hopefully we'll back it up with a good effort on the ice.
How about Mario? Rob scored on his first shift in Pittsburgh, his first game in the league. Mario was on the ice. Isn't that Rob's story, Bulldog?
I think so.
Do we get him for this? Probably late now.
Rob Ray scored on his first shift in the NHL.
Yes.
I can't wait to see that highlight. And by the way, the Game 4 in the '99 Conference Finals that Razor sent me. I was at Anchor Bar last night having some chicken wings with my son, and I've been on the road for almost 2 straight weeks between the trip and scouting meetings, and so I just got back and I'm having dinner, and he sends me this video clip of his goal where he knocks it out of the air, and I'm on the ice, and he's like, "Thanks for not stopping and allowing me to score the goal."
Right.
And so I had to relive that. So I've been on the ice for one of his highlights of his career and probably one of my lowlights.
Yeah, through the legs. I think it's a goal and an assist in Pittsburgh in his debut,
Correct.
a +2.
Correct.
And he thought, I got it made.
Did he fight that night too?
I don't think so. I don't think he did.
No penalties.
Right.
He scores, and he also assists on a goal scored by Kevin McGuire.
In fact, I think maybe Dave Brown is on that Pittsburgh team, and Rob has told us the story a few times, and I think Brown was chasing him around, and Rob was
Brown.
like, Rob Brown, thank you. And Rob was like, I'm not fighting you. I got a goal and an assist. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm a goal scorer.
Right.
It would have been fitting if he had started his career with a Gordie Howe hat trick.
Yes,
that would have been a pretty good way of him, stamping himself as an NHL player.
To think he didn't because he didn't fight.
Right.
Exactly.
How many other games did he have in his career where he had a goal and an assist?
I know.
Probably not that many.
Barrasso is the goalie, by the way.
Might be one, by the way.
Might be one. So, Kevin, you say you've been on the road a lot. What's that been like with the team, away from the team, scouting? What kinds of things?
Yeah, I was on our trip out west, and then I flew from Edmonton I stopped home for a few hours, and then went to Florida. We did our mid-season amateur scouting meetings. I was also, before that, I was a World Junior, so I've just been on the road quite a bit. From this time of year, I start to ramp up my own amateur scouting just when I can, but then we had our pro scouting meetings before that, so then there's some extra scouting that I'll do from the NHL side. So just a busy time of year, but that's why I say it's been almost 2 straight weeks on the road for me.
The juniors, too, this goes back a little bit. I'm not sure we've spoken to you since then. Hellenius in the juniors. I mean, there were some good moments for some Sabres prospects.
Yeah, I think we had 6 guys in the World Juniors, and 2 of them ended up winning the gold medal. And Hellenius was pretty special in that tournament. Wahlberg had a really good tournament. Zemer and Kleber got the gold with USA, and I think a kid like Zemer was one of the go-to players as an 18-year-old on that Team USA playing power play penalty kill, and that's a guy that we moved up to get him in the 3rd round. We moved picks, but looks like those type of kids get you excited when you see them in World Juniors, because that tournament is a pretty good indicator, with just how high end it is of some of the kids and what they'll be able to do at the next level.
So, Kevin, the business of now, are really looking forward to early March 7th, I guess, is the deadline. Where are you at now? Have you talked? I'll start here. Zucker and Greenway are UFAs. Potential, this offseason. They fit in great here, I think, especially when the season started. That 3rd line was like a real tomato ketchup 3rd line, and served a purpose. And then injuries and things just kind of got sideways on it. Have you talked to them or their representatives about where they're at on? Well, I guess it matters if you want to retain either guy, about their interest level in committing to staying here beyond this season.
Yeah, I've connected with both of them, their agents, and these are 2 guys that we think are important. We'd like to have both of them back. I sat down with Jason Zucker in Seattle, just the 2 of us, and just talked about where he's at and where he sees himself fitting in. And And, just I like to have those conversations. And then I actually had a couple-hour meeting with his agent in person out there. And, he reiterated that, he thinks that we can do something special here. He wants to be part of it. And I reiterated to him that we'd like to keep him, and let's try to figure it out. So for both those guys, we'd like to move forward and try to find a way to get a deal done. And if we can't, it has to work for both sides. But that's why you start these conversations early, and hopefully we'll be able to work something out. But if we can't, then we'll have to, go from there. But our intention would be to bring them both back.
The trade deadline is March 7th. Tonight is January 31st, so it's more than a month. Do you have some sort of formula in your mind, whether it's like specific or just generally for where you need to be? I mean, you're pretty far back here, but I doubt you would say like, you're already sort of 100% over in that mode, right, with the deadline in mind here. So how do you look at plus you got a couple weeks off. There's not as many games as you might like to try to figure that out.
Yeah, it's a little odd this year having like a 2-week kind of off time, almost, you get back and then the deadline's going to come quick. So it's been ramped up here, I think, from conversations around the league. And, I almost felt like there could be potentially 2 trade deadlines to some extent, one before the Four Nations break. But I don't know if the trade that happened with Carolina and Colorado maybe changed the timing of some of this stuff. So there's a lot going on. But I guess how I would frame it, we are approaching this is, we're trying to make our team better. We're not looking to be sellers. I mean, there's deals you have to do for the organization depending on, certain things, but we're trying to add to our team. We want to make our team better, and I'm approaching this is more of if there's deals out there, we're wide open. We have to be willing to look at everything, especially where we are in the standings, but is there hockey trades to make? Is there a way to improve our team and maybe with a player that goes out improves the difference? Kind of similar to what we did last year with the Middlestat Byram. It's a hockey trade. They're not easy, that's for sure. They're a lot of work, but those are the conversations I'm having more than maybe in the past 2-3 years ago where it was a little bit more focused on, okay, let's accumulate assets and, just try to build that up. We've had a lot of draft picks. We have assets. We have a pipeline, in my opinion, that's very strong. So let's try to figure out hockey trades if they're out there and make our team better. My entire intention is about trying to make our team better right now and into the future.
Yeah, Byram is a good and obvious example of that just a year ago. Where are you at on him? By the way, and Bulldog and I are looking at the roster, trying to figure out what the plans might be. And I wonder if he is at a level where, and it was Chris who said this earlier on the show, to give him credit, where he might end up money-wise around where Power is. And now you've got reports that the cap is going to shoot up here in a couple of years. And that would be 3 very highly paid defensemen if you were to end up there with Byram. So
that are all left-handed, too, by the way.
That are all left-handed.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing with the left shots. I guess we did talk a lot about this before acquiring Byram, that he does prefer his right side, and he's been playing in the right side with Rasmus. Even from an analytics standpoint, there's times that, Power's numbers actually look better on the right side and left side. So I think, we want to try to continue to work on that. It's not ideal to have, when Samuelson's in that group, to have 4 left shots in your top 4. Ideally, you'd like at least a righty in there, so it's something we talk a lot about. But in terms of both specifically, he's very comfortable on the right side. I think, to me, he's been a bright spot this year. In a very disappointing season with where we are up to this point, he's been a guy that I think has been extremely competitive. He's a leader in terms of the room. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's got some natural just leadership instincts and some moxie. He goes on the ice with some swagger and backs it up with how hard he plays. So he's a guy that we like a lot. His contract's up, but he still is restricted. So there's, it kind of changes the dynamic. But that'll be a guy that will definitely be working hard to figure out a way to get him signed and keep him a Sabre.
You mentioned him as a bright spot. Yuri Kulik hasn't been here all year, but certainly recently it has to be that his play has been a bright spot.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think I'm sure you guys have watched him a little bit here as he was in Rochester, and some of the elite traits he has, you guys are seeing now at the NHL level in terms of his ability to shoot the puck. And he's one of those rare kids that, NHLers can all shoot the puck, but he can shoot the puck even if it's in his feet, if it's, in front of him, behind him, he's just got an elite shooter. He's a strong, powerful, explosive kid. But what I've actually been really happy with is his play on both sides of the puck. You think of Peterka's second goal the other night, the play he made defensively to create the turnover. He's really committed to playing a 200-foot game, and sometimes young centermen, it's hard. They sacrifice offense if they're playing well defensively, or vice versa. If they're going to cheat for offense, then they're sacrificing defensively. And he's really bought in, and I think looks like a true centerman. And Tage moved to the wing when he was a little banged up and he was struggling to really just couldn't even take face-offs. We moved him over there to just kind of free him up. And then, he's played really well, and Yuri stepped in, and so we haven't wanted to mess around with that. And, we're excited about where he's at.
All right, Kevin, good luck tonight. Should be special, as we've talked about here, as the Sabres honor Rob Ray. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.